Alright, what's going on, guys? It's GSR here. So basically I wanted to talk to you guys today about who has like the strongest projectiles in the game. So the first two characters I have on my list is obviously Geras and Cetrion, right? Reason why I got these two up here is because I think they're like the better characters when it comes to like having a somewhat OP projectile. So let me further explain what I mean by this. If Geras was to whiff this twice in a row, he ends up getting a crushing blow. So before I show you guys that, this is what it says. Triggers if this attack has missed twice in a row, right? So if, like I said, if he ends up, you know, whiffing this on purpose, right, which more than likely he's going to do that to charge up his crushing blow, this is what he gets. So this causes a serious dilemma for you, because now you have to watch out from that shit. Not only that, he can also use this in combos, and this shit is pretty much unavoidable. You're pretty much stuck and you can't get out of it, so he's just getting this dumbass damage for no reason. Not only that, depending on where he is on the stage, if his back was pushed into the corner way over here, he could easily do this, and it acts as a teleport. Not only that, he gets unbelievable amounts of damage for his projectile and the knockdown, when majority of the characters in the game have to use 2 bars a meter to even try to get close to that type of damage. So you can already tell how bullshit this projectile actually is, right? Then he has a pretty much a brain dead ass requirement, because all he has to do is whiff this twice in a row, and then when he whiffs it twice in a row, say goodbye to your neck meat. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of dumb as hell if you ask me. And not only that, right, he can create a really good mind game, because you don't know whether or not he's going to whiff it or he's going to physically actually, you know, attack you with this move. So that causes a problem. And even if he accidentally whiffed it, it doesn't matter, because if he didn't use his crushing blow, it's just charging up his crushing blow, right? So, you know, he can accidentally do it because he thought you were going to be like right there, and he's like, oh, never mind, you know, you can't punish me from this range, but you can throw a projectile, but, you know, I just need to whiff this one more time and my crushing blow is charged up. So now you're going to just be blocking constantly like this, and he could purposely whiff this on purpose, and then when you move, you end up getting hit with a crushing blow. So, you know, you kind of get the idea here with Geras' little special move and shit. He can also use this in combos to get unbelievable amounts of damage. And yeah, that's pretty much Geras' projectile. That's the reason why I think he's number 1 on my list. But now we're gonna move on to Cetrion. Alright guys, so when it comes to Cetrion, obviously Cetrion is the best zoner in the game. She has a retarded ass teleport, obviously, but the reason why I'm bringing that up is because if we look at 2 certain projectiles that I want to talk about with this character, right, which is her boulder bash and her bouncing boulder, right? They both have the same startup animation, so if you pay close attention, as you can clearly see here, this is a problem, right? Now, watch this. You see this? You see the difference here? There is no difference. You want to know why there's no difference? Because you don't know whether or not this character is going to throw it in the air, or whether the character is going to throw it like this. And keep in mind, the move is a mid, and if you're trying to jump over it, it's somewhat difficult to do that. Right? Not only that, this character, right, let me take Geras off of that. This character gets massive amounts of pushback, right? Look at that shit. You see that? And she's plus on block. If she was like right here, bro, she's unbelievably plus on block. If she's back here and you blocked it, she's plus on block. So she can stay away from you as much as she wants. She can do that if she wants. It doesn't even matter. She can just keep doing it. You know what I mean? And this shit is nuts. And then when you finally feed into temptation, you know what I mean, where like you decide to jump and shit, right? She could do this and get a crushing blow, right? And that's literally combo damage, which is fucking nuts, if you ask me. And that shit is technically somewhat overpowered, right? Now, of course, a character with a teleport can kind of cause a problem. Geras can somewhat cause a problem if he makes the correct read and shit like that. But if we look at the crushing blow requirement, it says triggers if projectile hits by itself, which the likelihood of you getting this is very fucking high. Okay, like very fucking high, because obviously the opponent's not gonna like the idea that they're getting pushed back. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not gonna like that shit, and then you're gonna fuck around and hit him with this crushing blow and call it a day. And even if she doesn't have it, right, she gets almost 15% damage for that projectile that didn't cost a bar a meter whatsoever. So it's just like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I know what the deal is with this, and I just wanted to share that one with you guys as well. And as you can see, she can knock you down on the ground to get a high hit advantage as well. So these 2 projectiles complement each other very, very well. And this causes a problem. This causes a major issue, especially if you don't have a character that can kind of like reflect this, which I don't know if you can reflect that. I'm pretty sure you can. I'm pretty sure you could teleport too, but she can bait you very easily because she has pretty good recovery on her normals. But with that being said, this is what I had to say about Cetrion and Geras, or Geras and Cetrion, and now we're going to move on to the other characters on my list. Alright guys, so next up on my list would have to actually be SubZero. Reason why is because his projectiles are highly effective, even in the meterless version of it, because he can make himself a sandwich, still have enough time to dash up and literally hit you with a reset, or he could, you know, obviously, you know, get damage like this and knock you down, and, you know, you kind of get the idea with that particular situation, right? So, he could definitely do that, and even when you trade with him, his trade is a lot stronger than yours, right? So another thing to keep in mind is that if you use a bar meter and he uses a bar meter, his bar meter is going to beat you out because he can still freeze you, which doesn't make any sense. But when he does this, it turns into a mid. Not only that, it starts with 6 frames, and it's probably one of the quickest projectiles in the game, right? And the thing about it is that it goes right through your projectiles. It doesn't matter what you throw out at this character, it's going to go right through that shit and it's going to freeze you. And when it freezes you, he has all day in the world to make himself a sandwich and literally punish your ass for doing what you just did, right? So what we're going to do here is I'm going to try my best to time this to show you guys this, because I showed this back in the past. But as you can clearly see right here, Aaron Black was not able to actually use his fatal blow. So this is a clear indication of how strong this character's projectile game actually is when you have a fatal blow that's getting beat out that easily by a measly 1 bar ice ball, right? So this is a clear indication of how strong, you know, SubZero's ice ball actually is, or his amplified ice ball. And this is the reason why SubZero's on my list, because it doesn't even matter if you throw out a projectile, because he could literally just do that. Not only did he kill your projectiles, but he can still freeze you in the process. So it's just like an ice ball on steroids. You know what I mean? So with that being said, now we're going to get to the other characters. Alright guys, so next up on my list would have to actually be Cassie Cage and the Terminator, right? The reason why I say that is because both of these characters have really good shit with their projectiles. Especially if you really understand how their shit actually operates. So the first one we're going to talk about is obviously Cassie Cage. So she can go underneath majority of the high projectiles in the game, and if you fuck up, she can get a combo, and then she can do shit like this to you, restand you, and then do whatever the hell she's trying to do, right? She can also create a pretty good mind game with her back to 4-3 string, because it is a high. And if you fuck up, she can put you into a combo. Now, you have a decision here to make. Either you're going to feed into temptation because you're trying to punish her, because that's a high, and she has a good amount of space, and she's super safe, or you're going to allow her to hit you with this kneecapping move. Now, keep in mind, she is really minus on block when it comes to certain shit, but don't get it twisted. This projectile is still highly effective, and she can use it at any given moment, right? Now, keep in mind, the move is a mid, but you can hop over top of it as if it was a low. So just keep that in mind, right? Now jumping in on this character to a certain degree, I think it's kind of suicide. I don't think that would really be a good idea. But she could definitely, you know, do shit like this to you, you know what I mean? And, you know, obviously cause a problem, you know what I mean? You kind of get the idea here, right? Now there's another thing that I wanted to show you guys real quick, and it's when her back is pushed into the corner. If she manages to hit you with a combo, she can switch sides with you very easily, as you guys can clearly see, and then get a combo, and it's very easy work for her to get out the corner. If you end up whiffing an attack or you end up fucking up, she could definitely take advantage of that particular situation and literally put your back into the corner and be like, nah son, walk into my world. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I think Cassie Cage has a really powerful you know, projectile. Plus it's a mid, so that shit can get really fucking annoying, and it's really fucking quick as well, so you need to be on the lookout for that and predict and anticipate when she's going to do it. So yeah, that's pretty much Cassie Cage, and now we're going to get to the Terminator. Alright guys, so the reason why I got Terminator on my list is because he has a really powerful reset. He could do this off of certain things that he has access to. He can easily do this as well and then do it, you know what I mean, if he ends up catching you slipping, and he still gets really solid damage, as you can clearly see here, for a bar meter. So not only did he get 20%, but that guarantees him a reset, right? If he was to do this to you, right, That's literally 19%, which that's still really good damage for a reset, right? So now he can either hit you with an overhead, he can hit you with a low, the nigga can hit you with a command throw, and if he has access to his crushing blow on this, he can get a pop-up off of that and then cause a major issue and get substantial amount of damage. So his options are very, very strong, right? And you know, you guys kind of get the idea here, right? There's other things that he could do to you if you end up blocking, but I'll probably make a video talking about that in the far future, right? So now let's continue on, right? So if you end up, you know, neutral crouching underneath his high, this is what he gets from it. Triggers if this attack connects at close range and sawed off has missed twice in a row. So what does this mean exactly? This means that if you end up neutral crouching this twice in a row, right, you just gave him a free crushing blow, right? Now keep in mind, there's other creative ways that he can actually get this out. If you don't have a, you know, a breaker, you know, he can easily do this to you, and he whiffed it on purpose. The reason why he whiffed it on purpose is because this is what he gets. So as you can clearly see, this is very brain dead, very easy damage, didn't require no skill at all, you know, to get, just, you know, opened you up one moment, and he ended up getting a crushing blow. So, you know, you kind of get the idea here, and if you get stuck into the corner, he could just hit you with one shotgun blast, and that's enough hit advantage for him to possibly hit you with a mid, a throwing situation, an overhead, a low. Like, you know, like Terminator has some pretty good shit just off of that projectile, right? So this forces you to actually block his high projectile, because when he goes for it, that's the best thing that you can actually do to avoid him actually getting that crushing blow, right? But if he opens you up in the middle of his reset, right, he can easily sit here and do exactly what I told you guys. He can do this shit right here, and now, you know, obviously he gets his crushing blow, depending on whether or not he whipped the other sawed off attack, right? So you kind of get the idea here, and now we're gonna get on I think like the last two characters on my list. Alright guys, so we're on the final two. So I think Johnny Cage and Scarlet have really strong projectiles. Johnny Cage can actually use these in combos as well. So if I get Scarlet to the corner, and I was to do like whatever combo I wanted, I could do shit like this and, you know, obviously get a combo, and you kind of get the idea. Another thing to keep in mind is that if the opponent was to jump in, right, Johnny Cage could easily knock you far away, and you're in the correct range of his zoning, right? Another thing to keep in mind is that if he's close enough, right, he could do shit like this to you, right? So you kind of get the idea here, right? So another thing to keep in mind is that he gets pretty good damage on his projectile. As you can clearly see here, one hit, that's really good damage. Another hit, literally he's getting good damage. So every time he hits you, this shit can get really annoying, right? Now there is a way to counter it. You can obviously go underneath his projectile if you're in the correct range, but he has really good chip damage, really good pushback, as you guys can clearly see here. And you can clearly see his chip damage is fantastic, right? So he ends up doing this to you right here, right? So, you know, he throws out two of these, and he's getting, like, you know, substantial amount of chip damage, right? That's really good chip damage. Doesn't matter if you block it, that shit's gonna add up eventually, right? And this allows him to kind of like whiff punish you based on what you do. Not only that, he's a pretty strong footsie character as well. So it's like, you know, you get in finally, then you block because you think he's going to hit you, then he hits you with a plus string, and then if you let go of block on the last hit, he can, you know, obviously he can hit you with a nut punch and switch it up, because obviously you don't want to get hit by that. But either way, even if you do get hit by the last hit, right, you took decent amount of damage from the last hit, but you're still in the correct range of his zoning, right? So you kind of get the idea here. Johnny Cage can definitely keep you out if the opponent knows how to actually zone, which, I mean, it doesn't take any skill to zone anyway. I mean, his brain did his shit. I showed you guys that multiple times on my channel. So, I mean, you get the idea here, right? So that's pretty much Johnny Cage. There's nothing really much to add here. It's pretty self-explanatory, but the way that you can counter it is that when you're in the correct range, you can actually go underneath his projectile. Now, if his projectiles was like his MKX version of himself, where they went directly towards you, like straight ahead, right, like his back 4-2 projectile in this game, then, you know, you might have a problem. You might have a bigger problem than that, because at least they give you a chance to actually go underneath this nigga's projectiles, right? And it leaves him really plus on block, like when he's like around this area and stuff like that. But when he gets closer, as you can clearly see, his frame data is changing dramatically. See that? So just keep that in mind, right? So now we're going to talk about Scarlet. Alright guys, so the reason why I got Scarlet on my list is because this bitch is annoying. One of the most annoying zoners in the fucking game, followed up by Cetrion, right? So the reason why I say this, and the reason why I say she has really powerful projectile or zoning in general, is because of this down back 2, this slow blood ball. This sets up everything for her zoning. She can hit you with a mid if you try to neutral crouch. She can keep doing this. If you guys have, I don't know if you guys have watched that one high level match or whatever with this one guy and this other guy. I don't know who they were, but my friend showed me a video of this dude zoning the fuck out of this one guy that was using Cassie Cage, right? And the dude could not get in. He could not get in whatsoever. This nigga was getting mad, bro, and I could see it in his face. And when my friend showed me, he said, this shit don't make no sense, my nigga. And I was like, it is what it is, bro. At the end of the day, it is what it is. And the dude was hitting him with slow blood balls, hitting him with the mid, and if both of those connect, she gets like a total of 15% damage or something like that. She gets really good damage off of that. She can also use this to space herself out. She can really fool you with a high mid mind game with this as well. So like you get the idea here, man. Like she could definitely cause, you know, major fucking issues from far away. And the reason why is because of this slow blood ball, right? Because it has a really good slow type of speed to it, so it's kind of difficult for you just to get in on her that easily. So she can keep doing shit like this, and she has fantastic range on her buttons. This fuck neutral type of sweep, as you can clearly see here, right? So, you know, she could definitely make it difficult for you to get in. Oh shit, is that a poster of Husao? Oh shit, what the fuck? I didn't even notice that. Wait a minute, is he gonna be in this game? Ooh, ooh. But yeah, you guys get the idea here. And this is all I really had to say about this particular situation. Now I'm going to give you guys some honorable mentions, meaning like, you know, characters that I was going to put on my list, but these characters definitely are close to it. So I think Liu Kang for sure has pretty good zoning because he can shut out, like, you know, the low area, the high area. He can actually stop you from jumping into the air. So that's really effective. Another character that I had in mind was Devora. Reason why is because Devora is unbelievably plus on block when she's in this variation right here. She can shut down a huge portion of the stage, and it's damn near impossible to get in on her if you know what you're doing with this variation. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't think any other characters' projectiles are really problematic, not completely. I was going to talk about SubZero's one variation where he has access to his projectile, but I don't think it's really worth it. But these are the certain characters that I believe have, like, you know, obviously like the strongest projectile game, at least in my opinion. So yeah, I was going to talk about Joker and his little projectile thing, but I don't think that's really a good idea anyway, because it's just like, I mean, his projectile, I mean, you can obviously block it, and he has like really good block stun and, you know, a lot of pushback, but, you know, his projectile isn't as crazy as other characters in the game, you know what I mean? So with that being said, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.